Here we go. We got the Dylan 650 with a light. Whole thing starts with a transformer. I got an old transformer I've had sitting around the house. Used to power an old light. Problem with the transformers is some of them provide power to the outside, some provide power to the inside of the connector. LEDs need power for, at least this style, needs power supplied to the outside. Don't fall into the trap where they have you buy their special transformer. There is really no difference. You do indeed have to make sure that you have the correct setup. And that would be identifying which wires you're going to be swapping. You're going to inverse them. What was the negative wire is going to connect to the positive, and what was the positive wire is going to connect to the negative. Real simple. Use a pair of scissors, cut the wire, snip it so that you can spread them, and then you're going to take the shielding off with some wire strippers. It's not really that hard. It's something you can do sitting at the dining room table like I am here. If you really feel uncomfortable about it, get a friend, get somebody you know who's done some electrical work. After you rip the shielding off, go ahead and give it a nice twist so everything's nice and tight. Get both ends. Like I said before, don't get trapped into the buying a $14 transformer from one of these companies. I'm sure you've got one or two of these 12-volt transformers sitting around. Now it can be a 24-volt as well. These LEDs, you can buy the 12-volt or the 24-volt. It's completely up to you. I just happen to have purchased the 12-volt. I'm going to use some bell end caps to connect the two wires together. But since we're doing 12 volts, 24 volts, you can easily use any kind of automotive connector. We're not dealing with voltages like you have for a standard incandescent light bulb. This is the same kind of voltage you'd have in your car. Matter of fact, many boats are 24 volts, and many cars, or actually commercial trucks, are 24 volts. And these would be the connectors you'd use inside those vehicles. So don't be afraid to use something that you have sitting around or repurpose. You can use wire nuts to do this. I'm just looking for something a little more permanent, so I'm going to go ahead and use bell end caps. I prefer to use these for low voltage. Personal choice. If you do decide to use these kind of connections, remember, when you're crimping them, don't crimp all the way through. All you're doing is snugging these fittings together. You should never break through the outer insulation. You're not going to swing from these. You're not going to use these connections to hold your weight. They're simply a nice, secure way to connect two wires together to complete a circuit. So, rule of thumb, don't crush, crimp. And if you notice here, after I'm done twisting it, I'll usually fold the end in. That's just a personal thing on my own. I'm trying to fill up the gap, make it a little tighter fit. And once again, crimp, not crush. Plug in the 12-volt transformer. Move the scissors out of the way. Plug in my wire, and voila, we have power. We have light. Now all we got to do is clean this mess up a little bit and head on downstairs to the basement and see if we can't install this on the press. This is the part number for the LED light I ordered. I ordered these parts through 1000 Bulbs. I'm going to include a link at the bottom. And this is the switch. You can buy the direct connection but for 60 cents more, you can have a switch. Turn things on, turn things off without having to unplug things. That was priceless in my opinion. Bell end caps, use them, don't use them. You can buy a whole bag full of them for about $3. And once again, the transformer, I'm going to include a link to the conversion site where you can find out whether or not your transformer will work. Meet you downstairs. Make sure you clean up the location where you're going to put the 3M double stick tape. It comes on the LED. Use a little alcohol, cotton swab, wipe up, clean up the little area. Doesn't take much. This way when you stick that 3M adhesive tape backing on there, it's going to stay. Well, here's my light installed. As you can see, switch is mounted, light comes on, light goes out, light comes on again at the flick of the switch. When you do this install, note that the FlexTech connection is a little thicker. I had to mount it underneath the shell plate. The head, when it comes up, just didn't quite clear good enough for myself. So I went ahead and lowered it a bit. You can mount it any way you want. These sections can be cut in 2-inch sections. You can mount it in the overhead, down below. Options are endless. And as you can see, I used a couple zip ties. I'm planning to get some blue zip ties so it matches a little bit better. But all in all, I think this was a good home project. Everything's cleared, everything's good. Save your money, put it into material. Have fun. God bless.